Why in the world are oil prices not rising based on geopolitical risk? Why in the world is oil trading at $83 a barrel today? Over the last 20 years, oil price would rise dramatically if there's one single geopolitical risk in the Middle East. But here we have a full-blown war taking place between Iran, Israel, and the United States. Here we have the Strait of Hormuz shut down. We're missing 15 million barrels a day. We've had 1.5 to 1.8 billion barrels missing from supply over the last 4 months, and there's no solution in sight. Under any circumstances, whether it's oil and gas or any other supplied material that cannot be met with current demand, prices would reflect that escalation and the separation between growing demand and lowering supply. So why in the world is it not happening today? Two reasons it's not happening today. Number one, every single producer of oil supplied excess crude oil into the market to try to make up for the differential in natural supply. They took every bit of oil, soft barrels in refineries and plants and pipelines, and they dumped it into the market saying, if we just do it today, it'll keep oil prices suppressed. The fact of the matter is those soft barrels are gone. We don't have any more oil in the strategic petroleum reserves. We don't have any more oil in those tanks and those salt domes. We don't have any more oil in those pipelines and tanks sitting out there in the middle of the Middle East. They've all been emptied, and they're now backlogged because we don't have the waterborne vessels to pick it up and transport it to final customers. So the pressure is on. The game is over. Now we're going to be talking about real mark-to-market values. So today at $83 a barrel, what would I normally think oil in normal conditions with a 40-year career in oil and gas, what should the price will be today based on what I just described? We should be north of $125 to $150 a barrel. And guess what? That's where the price is headed. I don't see any solution. I don't see any resolution. Demand destruction is not going to save the day. Why not? Because demand destruction might reduce 1 or 2 million barrels a day over the next 12 months because the economies are slowing down, higher prices, inflation's kicking in. But the truth of the matter is there's enough economic drivers of additional new consumption of oil and gas and fossil fuels around the globe because of data centers and AI and growth in manufacturing is going to far be in excess of demand than the supply that's been disrupted. In other words, we have more demand growing in new resources than the demand destruction will take place on the consumer level. When I think about the game over, what we have to factor in really is we have growing risk. Every single day is another risk. We now have Iran that has gone way beyond the bounds of a direct conflict between the United States and itself. Now it's bombings of its neighbors, its ports. We have Ukraine going out 1,500 kilometers, taking out Russian refineries and processing plants. One of the largest producers in the world is having disruption to the tune of 35% of their normal manufacturing, refining, and production of oil and gas coming out of Russia. Folks, the erosion on the supply side is increasing, not decreasing. The uncertainty is getting higher. The price per barrel at $83 a barrel, that's probably $40 a barrel lower than what it should be today. If I were you and I'm listening, I would start looking at all my assets, all my investments, my business, start saying to myself, how do I navigate going forward for the next 12 to 36 months at oil prices north of $95 a barrel? I could easily see oil prices being well over $125 a barrel by December 31st and probably much sooner than that. So demand destruction, not a concern. Crude oil prices being low has been complete manipulation by the markets by adding all these soft barrels. The soft barrel game is over. No one else has any more oil barrels in their pocket, in their reserves, in their storage. And whatever oil they have, they realize because the Strait of Hormuz and the conflict and the war with Iran is not ending anytime soon, they're hanging on to what little remaining soft barrels they have, and they're now going to rebuild their storage. They're going to rebuild their inventory because now they know the game is on and it's going to last a long time. And right now, preservation of your energy resource is paramount for the success of their own countries, their own economies, their own businesses. It's going to be higher for longer, for sure.
What's up, guys? D7 back at you. We've got some things switching up here on the front of Hormuz, and really all the talk of what's going to happen with the oil. They're putting out the warning now, believe it or not, and they're saying that you should prepare for oil disruptions all the way through the end of 2027. That's significant. This war is not ending anytime soon. For people that were like waiting for a sign or a signal to show them that this is going to go one way or the other, well, I'm going to tell you, man, there's no talks going down right now at all. And what we do know is Iran has just switched up and took a new stance. I covered this in the last video a little bit, but they put all the hardliners in there, and they're admitting they want this to be a war of attrition. They want to drag this out. They're stating that the American military is weaker than people think, and that they're proving this right now, and that by dragging this out, this is one way they're defeating and beating Trump in this whole thing, the U.S. military. They specifically said they will wait him out until the next presidency, and they'll deal with the next president on the whole deal, which is part of their tactic, and they're just flat out admitting that they can wait this out. It may not be, the best thing in the world for them, like a bumpy road, but they feel like they can live through it. They do not think that the Trump administration will launch a ground invasion at this point. They're calling them out, calling their bluff, and then also CENTCOM said that all of our strikes in the region are pointless. They're doing nothing. So Trump is in a huge catch-22. It really should never be here. He should have backed out. Should have never got into this war to begin with. But, where's Israel at right now? Off killing people somewhere else. So I expect at some point bombs are going to come back in. They're going to try to go one more time, a big round. It's not going to be pretty. And this is the warning on the back end. Iran is saying that this whole shift is focused on attacking the enemy abroad and for taking the fight now into enemy territory, which includes the home front here. We see these cyber attacks on water municipalities and everything hitting all kinds of states. That's Iran's real number one tool and weapon. Of course, you got China in the mix. Then they've got staged events. Anything can happen, right? But look, I would just have a plan and prepare. This is going to cause prices to just keep rising. It's not just fuel, but when diesel rises, that affects everything. How everything gets shipped and the cost of every single thing that gets shipped, including the food. And it's going to be a dismal year for the harvest to add that in on top of it. So this is the latest. I wouldn't ignore this. They're flat out telling the people, the writing's on the wall, that this is going to last until the end of next year. Will they get it? I don't know. Join me for the live stream, going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, here on Dapu 77. I hope to see you there.
If you're shopping for a home,